Okay, if you're joining me, this is the last portion of the PD. I have it set up into 10-minute chunks. Okay, so we're going to hop right in. This is another option. You can use the strategy of using pictures to get the students thinking. All right, so use this simple model of what do you see, what do you think, what do you wonder. So have the students look at whatever image that you have posted on there, and when they respond, you can have them respond in Seesaw or another web tool. In a few moments, I'll show you the Alice Keeler's Chrome webcam extension. That's an option. So once they jot down how they feel, then pull back together as a whole group and actually show them where that picture is coming from. And it might not be what you think. Okay, a lot of teachers, when I did this for my PD, they all think that this is about a school that was closed, many years ago, an abandoned school, when actually it was just closed down recently. And so they were all shocked to hear that. But what power is that they're having to think deeply about a photograph, and then they get to learn the actual story behind that photograph. Okay. Another option, it doesn't have to be something so, current events. Oh, and I did tell the teachers this morning, if you're looking for photos, go to some of those sites that I recommended, like Common Lit, Newsela, some of those other sites, and see if they have a photograph that goes along with the article. And that's what you could embed and then ask the students to talk about. So like I said, it doesn't have to be so deep like a current event. I have this one. What do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? Then I actually link this one out to Wonderopolis. And in fact, it takes you out to, why are they called Sloppy Joes? Okay. And the kids, again, are going to be engaged when they get out there. All right. Don't forget the option of videos as well. The site, the kids should see this. Those are videos. Okay. So before they actually watch the video, have them talk about what do they see, what do they think, what do they wonder. Okay. Then you would tap on the link to show the students, and it's going to actually take you out to the video clip so they can learn more about the reasoning behind the video. Okay. So those are some options when you're thinking about pictures. A lot of our teachers are starting to use Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid for recording a student video response. So that's one option. I'm not going to play the video here, but I found a great video where it has a couple of teachers sharing some different ways that they've decided to use Flipgrid as a video response. I know that Carly Mora and Sean Fahey have several blog posts that talk about how to integrate Flipgrid into your classroom. If you don't want to use Flipgrid or you just want to mix it up, Alice Keeler this summer came out with a webcam record Chrome extension. I love it. I've been modeling it like crazy these last couple weeks. When the students add it, it will capture 30 seconds of reflection, and then they can insert it into a Google slide. So I have a link here that will get to her blog post so that you can add the extension yourself. Again, these are multimedia opportunities for the students. Now, I usually get asked, well, what if it's a noisy classroom where they're recording? I found an article online that goes into, if that bothers you, if you want to make your own little recording booth, I have a link actually down here to a YouTube video where a guy is making one himself. I told our teachers this morning, this is like a copy box, and then they're just putting foam on the inside of it. Okay. All right. So that's some things to consider about audio recordings. Now, phase 4, once a teacher is to the point that they're at phase 4, it means that they're ready to start doing hyperdocs. Okay. When you're doing a hyperdoc, then the teacher is adding it in Google Classroom, integrating that show what you know, and the students are definitely creating. This is not consumption. This is not a digital worksheet anymore. This is now definitely creation level. You're also actively looking for ways to balance technology with literacy. So you notice that I have the little Twitter birds on there. I told our teachers this morning, Matt Miller has a weekly chat, #DitchBook. I love it because it's only a half hour on, I think, Thursday nights that you can join in on. There's some other great Twitter chats as well. This training is not going to go full board into HyperDocs. That's a whole nother training that I do. And I told the teachers that again this morning. I said, really, this training's more about getting you ready for phase 4. But I did want to tell those folks that are already in phase 4, don't forget that when you're in phase 4, that you need to be modeling what the students do within a HyperDocs slide by slide. You have to do the gradual release model. If you're not doing the gradual release model, a HyperDoc is not a, well, here you go, now go to it. It's not a sit and get. I want you to be teaching throughout the HyperDoc. So this is Dahlia Cirilla on Twitter. She is at Dahlia Flowers. If you want to find her, she's a 4th grade teacher over at South Creek Elementary in Franklin Township. On here, she's modeling a HyperDoc that was actually created by Carly and Sean. And so she's talking to the kids. She's modeling what she wants them to do. She's now indicating on this picture, you're going to be doing something within Google Maps and Street View. And now we notice the students actually engaging in what she asked them to do. So she's ensuring that they're going to be doing what she needs them to do. Okay, so that's just a reminder if you decide to go ahead and do HyperDocs at this point. Now, one of the last slides, and this is the reason why I have this not in present mode. I have some notes off to the side here. And on Twitter, I've actually posted a photograph of this, and I suggested to our teachers this morning that they print this out and they have it near their desk. So when they're planning stations or they're planning what they want to do for literacy, then they have this as kind of a snapshot to see what they can do. So basically what I've done is I've listed the 4 phases kind of in shortened form. I do want to make sure that teachers know that phase 1, just adding these to the About tab, that's not where we want you to end up. If somebody tells me by the end of the year, well, I've got those sites in the About tab, that's not your end goal. That's just a starting point. Okay. Again, I'm encouraging our teachers to even get beyond phase 2 and work towards level 3. Okay. In that phase 3 realm. So they should be really good in this. If they're ready for it beyond that point, then they're in phase 4. Okay. Speaking of which, I have the little icon for SAMR over to the side. And when thinking in terms of SAMR, focus on swimming laps in these levels of the suggested model. For instance, once it's not an issue of, oh, well, I'm at phase 4, so I'm only supposed to be doing HyperDocs now. Oh my goodness, please don't do that. Because if you do that, those kids are going to be HyperDoc to death, and then they're not going to like HyperDocs anymore. So once we're at phase 4, then you are successfully going back and forth, something from level 2, something from phase 3, something from phase 4, and you're actively integrating those. At the bottom of the chart, I wanted you to see how I've rated it on consumption versus creation. Okay? Now, to wrap it up, I told the teachers that I get a lot of teachers that say, yeah, that's nice, but I'm not techie. So I always show this quote from Alice Keeler. The only difference between I'm techie and I'm not techie is the willingness to click on stuff and see what happens. Okay? All right. Thanks for your time. If you want to, you can reach out to me at Nadine Gilkison if you have questions or if you're interested in more PD for your staff. Thank you so much for your time.